Hey guys, welcome back. So today we are doing some French duckies. Right now I'm going in with a fine sanding band and I'm gently removing the shine off of the natural nail plate. And when doing this, I like to focus mainly around the cuticle area because that's where majority of our lifting comes from. And you want to work at a low speed. Mine is typically between a 3 and 5. It just all depends. Right now I'm going to go in with my duck tip, but they're actually coffin tips. You can use duck tips, but me personally, I don't like the wide look. I like the subtle duckies, so I did end up using coffin tips. You can use stiletto as well and just flip it over and cut them to your client's desired length. And that's pretty much what we did here, but you can use duck tips depending on how wide you want them, or you can use this hack. And then I'm going to apply some glue at the free edge of my client's nails and then apply the tips, which you guys will see coming up. Now going in with some scissors, I'm just going to cut the tips into my client's desired length. Going in with that same fine sanding band, I'm going to blend the tips in with my client's natural nail plate so we can get a smooth application when applying our acrylic. I'm now going to go in with my primer so our acrylic could adhere to the natural nail plate when applying our acrylic. Now going in with my first bead, I'm going to place it just above where I placed my tips, and then I'm going to drag the acrylic to the center of the nail so that it's not rolling over to the sides. And then I'm going to gently pat it, make sure it's stiffening up a little bit before dragging it down. And then I'm going to tilt my client's fingers to the side also, just to see if there's any areas that need to be smoothed out with the rest of the nail. And you also want to use the tip of your brush to clean off any acrylic that might have gotten onto the skin. Now for my second bead, I'm going to place it just above where I placed my first bead. This was a larger bead than it needed to be, but I made it work. So I pretty much just placed it where I placed my first bead, pushed it up into the cuticle. It's not too much to where it's flooding it, and then I dragged the rest of that bead to cover my first bead, if that makes sense. Normally I'll just place my first bead and then gently drag the tip of that bead down to blend it in with the rest of the nail, but that second bead was larger than it needed to be, but I made it work. Also want to use the tip of your brush to clean around the cuticle area so that we won't get any lifting. going in with a fine carbide bit, I'm going to smooth the rest of the nail out. My speed is typically at a 17 when doing this. You don't want to apply too much pressure if your application is already smooth. I'm literally just trying to blend everything in. I'll tilt my client's finger to the side just to see what areas need to be blended in some more. Now I'm going to go in and seal the cuticle area. When doing this step, you want to make sure you're working very slow and you're being very careful. My speed is at a 3 when doing this step, and I'm pretty much just going around the cuticle area to remove any excess acrylic that might have gotten onto the skin. I already went in and shaped in the beginning, but I like to go in towards the end and reshape again so I can have that perfect crisp shape that I'm looking for. So on 4 fingers, we're going to create a French. There's no specific technique that I use to do my French. I just start on the sides and then curve it in to connect on each side, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to use my gel brush to fill in the rest of the nail. So for this nail, I'm going to go in with this green gel polish that matches the crystals that I'll be using. You want to make sure they match at least close to each other, because when you apply your crystals, you're going to have little spaces in between, and you want to make sure it's as full coverage as possible. You don't want different colors, well, different shades showing in between those spaces. So that's why I'm using a gel color that matches the crystals. Once that's done curing on the lamp for 60 seconds, I'm going to go in and buff out the shiny layer off of the nail, wipe that down with alcohol wipe, and then I'm going to apply my glue and crystals. I do this step only because I don't use the glue that requires my clients to put their hands under the lamp. This is a glue that just dries on its own. So this is why I have to do this step, because the glue won't dry as fast if I don't buff out that shiny layer. And then I'm going to apply my glue and then my crystals. You want to do it in sections. You don't want to apply the glue onto the whole nail and then apply the crystal. You want to just work in sections so that your glue isn't drying by the time you're ready to apply the crystal on that section. Now I'm going to go in with my no wipe gel top coat and apply a thin layer of that gel top coat onto the nail. A little goes a long way, so you don't have to apply too much of it. And then towards the end, before curing it on the lamp for 60 seconds, I like to wipe the sides off just so I don't lose my shape if the gel polish was to roll over on the sides. Once that's done curing, I'm going to go in with some cuticle oil, and that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notification bells on to get notified whenever I upload, and I'll see you guys in the next one.